The next morning, she told 𝐬𝐵RA and 𝐶𝐵 what had happened. She said more are coming, Onyeka said, pacing the small room. More spirits? 𝐬𝐵RA asked nervously. I don't know, Onyeka said. But she didn't look angry. She looked calm. 𝐶𝐵 rubbed his chin. Maybe it's a warning. Or a message. Onyeka nodded. We need to be ready. That week, something strange began happening in nearby villages. In our room, a little girl told her mother about a tall man with red eyes who tried to give her sweets near an uncompleted building. In Ojoto, a child disappeared for 3 days, only to be found walking alone, dirty and scared. He said he was taken into the bush by a man with charms. And in Abosi, villagers found a small shrine hidden behind a compound. Inside were clothes and pictures of children, many of whom had been missing for years. When the news reached Nkpor, Onyeka called an emergency meeting with the village elders. This is no longer just about us, she told them. There are still people out there sacrificing children for wealth. Neloaku's story was one of many. Papa Nedi looked deeply disturbed. This is spreading. We must warn others, Onyeka said. And we must prepare to protect the children. But how? One elder asked. We are only a village. Then we speak, Onyeka replied. We go from town to town. From school to school. We tell Neloaku's story. We wake the people. The elders were silent for a moment. Then Papa Nedi stood. You are young, but you have more sense than many of us. Go. Speak. Let the land remember. The next week, Onyeka, 𝐬𝐵RA, and 𝐶𝐵 began traveling to nearby communities. They carried drawings and photos. They told the story of the haunted house. Of the girl who cried by banana at night. Of the confessions. Of forgiveness. Some people listened in silence. Some wept. Some laughed and said it was village nonsense. But many listened. And that was enough. In one town, a young boy raised his hand after their talk. His voice shook. There is a building in our area. They say children enter and don't come out. But no one believes it. Onyeka looked at the boy. You believe it? He nodded. Then take us there. The next day, they stood in front of an abandoned compound in the heart of the town. It was overgrown with weeds. The gate hung loose on one hinge. Onyeka felt it immediately. That same coldness. That same stillness. She closed her eyes and whispered, Is anyone here? The wind answered. Soft at first. Then stronger. Then she heard it. A giggle. Then a voice. Faint, but real. I want to go home. Her eyes flew open. 𝐶𝐵 had heard it too. There are spirits here, he said. 𝐬𝐵RA stepped back. What do we do? Onyeka clenched her fist. We open this place. We dig. We call the people. We tell the truth. And that was exactly what they did. With help from local youth and elders, they uncovered the back of the building. There, behind a sealed wall, they found evidence. Children's clothing. Pictures. Bones. The town was shaken. But the truth had come out. And that day, 3 more names were added to the list of the lost. That night, Onyeka sat by herself under a tree. She looked up at the stars and whispered, Neloaku, we are still listening. We are still speaking. The wind replied with a soft hush. And far in the distance, the mango tree at Nkpor bent gently, as if bowing in thanks. Word of Onyeka's mission began to spread beyond Nkpor. In nearby towns like Nui, Oka, and Nsugbe, people had started whispering the name in Neloaku. Some said she was a ghost. Some said she was a child hero. Others said she was a spirit of justice. But one thing was certain, her name had become a symbol. A symbol of truth, of courage, of justice for children who had no voice. Onyeka didn't care much for fame. Her only wish was to protect others. But she was happy that people were now paying attention. Villages were waking up. Elders who once ignored the cries of poor children were now holding community meetings. New laws were being discussed in councils to protect children from abuse, trafficking, and ritual harm. 𝐵𝐵𝐺 smiled as she read a message from her cousin in another town. Listen to this, she said to Onyeka and 𝐶𝐨𝐵𝐺. They want us to visit 𝐵𝐵𝐺 next week and speak to their school children and mothers. Onyeka grinned. Then we'll go. At Neloaku, the children were also growing stronger. Little Ada, who used to cry every morning, could now write her name without help. Emeka, who once picked pockets to feed himself, now carved wooden toys and shared them with others. They were healing, just like the land that once carried pain. One morning, Mama Nelo visited with a basket of fruits. I brought some guavas for the children, she said warmly. Thank you, Mama, Onyeka smiled. They'll love it. Mama Nelo sat down beside her. You know, I used to think my daughter died in vain. But now, when I see this place, when I hear her name on people's lips, I know her spirit lives on. Onyeka placed a gentle hand over hers. Neloaku opened the door. But you gave her strength. Mama Nelo smiled with teary eyes. You're doing something no one has ever done here. You're changing hearts. Onyeka looked out at the children playing under the mango tree. It's not just me. It's all of us. And it's only the beginning. Later that day, a messenger came from a village far away, 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐞. He was a thin man with dust-covered slippers and a tired face. He greeted Onyeka with a small bow. I heard you speak in Ojota. I walked all night to find you. What's wrong? She asked. My niece is missing. Her name is Masoma. She's only 9. She left to sell okpa in the evening, and she never came back. 𝐵𝐵𝐺 gasped. 𝐶𝐨𝐵𝐺 stood up straight. How long ago? 3 nights, the man replied. We went to the police. They said to wait. But I couldn't wait anymore. People are saying there's a shrine deep in the bush. They think she was taken. Onyeka's jaw tightened. We'll come with you. But it's far, the man said. We'll go. That evening, the 3 friends packed food, water, torches, and a copy of Neloaku's list. They left instructions for Mama Nelo and 2 trusted villagers to care for 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐞 while they were away. They reached 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐞 by morning. The air there felt different. Heavy. Like it had secrets. The villagers welcomed them, especially the children. Some had already heard of Neloaku's story. Onyeka stood before a small gathering and spoke clearly. Masoma is not just a child who went missing. She is someone's heartbeat. Someone's joy. We will not sleep until we find her. The villagers clapped. Some cried. One woman stepped forward and said, I saw her that evening. She was going down the small path near the stream. She waved at me. After that, I never saw her again. That path, Onyeka said. Where does it lead? To the old bush road, the woman replied. Nobody goes there anymore. People say it's cursed. Then that's where we're going, Onyeka said. The next day, they walked down the narrow path toward the bush. The trees grew thick and tall. The sun barely touched the ground. Birds didn't sing here. After almost an hour, they saw it. A small wooden hut hidden among thick leaves. The door was made of bamboo. 𝐵𝐵𝐺 held Onyeka's hand. Are you sure? Yes, Onyeka said. They opened the door. Inside were strange things, cow horns, clay pots filled with dark liquid, and a large bowl with burnt okpa wrappers inside. And at the back, tied with rope, was a little girl. Masoma. She was weak, eyes red from crying, but alive. They rushed to her. Onyeka untied the ropes and held her close. "You're safe now," the girl whispered. "He said he was taking me to the city. He said I would be rich." Onyeka's face grew tight. "Did you see his face?" Masoma nodded. "He wore a red cap. He had a long scar on his cheek." 𝐶𝐸 growled. "That sounds like 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐞𝐿 old friend, the one they called Chief 𝐸𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐞." They didn't wait. They carried Masoma back to the village. The people rejoiced. That night, the village square was filled with lanterns, singing, and dancing. For the first time in weeks, there was joy. Onyeka sat with Masoma beside her. "You're very brave," she said. The girl nodded. "I want to help other girls too. Like you." Onyeka smiled. "And you will." Then, for the first time in many days, she looked up at the sky. It was filled with stars. And in her heart, she heard Neloaku's voice again. "More are coming. But you are ready." After Masoma was rescued, the village of 𝐬𝐝 thanked Onyeka and her friends with open hearts. The chief of the town gave them gifts, baskets of fruit, yam, palm oil, and a carved wooden stool with Nelo's name on it. But Onyeka didn't stay for the celebration. There was something more urgent to do. Masoma's description of her captor stayed in Onyeka's mind, a red cap, and a long scar on his cheek. 𝐶𝐸 had recognized him. Chief 𝐸𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐞, one of 𝐬𝐿's closest friends. A man once seen around. Nkpor, now known to be rich and powerful in a far-off town called 𝐼𝐵𝐿𝐼. "He's still doing it," Onyeka said as they walked back toward Nkpor. "He's the one now. 𝐬𝐿 may have confessed, but 𝐸𝐮𝐻 has continued the evil. And he's using the same lies," Ebra added. "Promising children riches. City life." Onyeka nodded. "He thinks he's hidden. But he's wrong." 𝐶𝐸 looked uneasy. "Chief 𝐸𝐮𝐻 is not like 𝐬𝐿. He has bodyguards. He has money. He has power." Onyeka didn't blink. "But he doesn't have the truth on his side." Back in Nkpor, Onyeka met with Papa Nedi and the village elders. She told them everything about Masoma, the shrine in the bush, and the red-capped man with a scar. When she said Chief 𝐸𝐮𝐻's name, a few elders shifted uncomfortably. One cleared his throat. 𝐸𝐮𝐻 was born here. Before he left for the city. He was poor then. Now, look at him. Papa Nedi's voice was low. "I always wondered how he rose so fast." "Now we know," Onyeka said. The old man turned to her. "What do you want us to do?" "Let me go to 𝐼𝐵𝐿𝐼," Onyeka said. "Let me find him. Let me get proof." The elders hesitated. Then Papa Nedi nodded. "Take someone with you. Not just Ebra and 𝐶𝐸. Someone who can help with the law." Onyeka's eyes lit up. "Yes. I know someone." His name was Inspector 𝐬𝐻𝐫. A soft-spoken man who had once laughed at Mama Nelo when she reported Neloaku's disappearance. But things had changed. When the truth about the sacrifices came out, 𝐬𝐻𝐫 had visited Nkpor personally to apologize. "I was blind," he had told Onyeka. "But I see now. If you ever need help again, come to me." She went to him. 𝐬𝐻𝐫 listened quietly as Onyeka shared everything about Chief 𝐸𝐮𝐻. "I've heard of him," the inspector said. "His name is feared in certain circles. But he's never been caught." "Then we'll catch him," Onyeka replied. "But we need a plan." 𝐬𝐻𝐫 nodded. "I'll go with you. But we'll need proof. Words are not enough." 2 days later, Onyeka, Ebra, 𝐶𝐸, and Inspector 𝐬𝐻𝐫 arrived in 𝐼𝐵𝐿𝐼. The town was busy and full of people. Sellers shouted in the market. Okada men raced through traffic. And high walls hid big houses from the streets. They found Chief 𝐸𝐻's mansion easily. It was painted white, with golden gates and stone lions at the front. Big men stood guard outside with dark sunglasses. Too tight, 𝐶𝐻 whispered. We can't just walk in. No, Onyeka said. But we don't need to. That evening, they met with a housemaid who worked for Chief 𝐸𝐵. Her name was 𝐸𝐵𝐠. She was young, no more than 16. At first, she didn't want to talk. But when Onyeka shared Neloaku's story, 𝐸𝐵𝐠's eyes filled with tears. I've seen him bring children into the house, she whispered. Girls, boys. They stay for one night. Then they vanish. He says he sends them to the city for schooling. But I never see them again. Can you show us where they stay? Inspector 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐜𝐫𝐤 asked. 𝐸𝐵𝐠 nodded. Tomorrow night, I will take you to the back of the house. The next night was dark. Clouds covered the moon. The wind was still. 𝐸𝐵𝐠 met them near the back fence. She looked around nervously. This way, she whispered, leading them through a narrow path behind the compound. They followed quietly. Finally, they reached a small house behind the main building. This is where he keeps the children when they first arrive, she said. 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐜 opened his small camera and began to take photos. Then Onyeka pushed the door slightly. It wasn't locked. Inside were sleeping mats, empty food bowls, old clothes, shoes that were too small, and a plastic bag filled with items. Onyeka picked one up, a wrapper with a name written on it. 𝐶𝐸𝐧'𝐭. I know this name, Onyeka whispered. It's on one of the missing children lists from NUI. They had their proof. Just then, they heard a voice outside. Who's there? 𝐸𝐵𝐠 gasped. We must go. They ran quietly back through the bushes, hiding until the lights faded. Back in the town, 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐜 sent all the photos and names to the police command in Awka. The order came quickly. Arrest Chief 𝐸𝐵 immediately. The next morning, Onyeka and her friends stood in front of the Golden Gate as police officers marched into the compound. Chief 𝐸𝐵 came out in a red cap and white agbada. When he saw Onyeka, he hissed. You again. You and that banana girl story. 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐜 stepped forward. We found the room. The children. The evidence. You are under arrest. I have lawyers. Chief 𝐸𝐵 shouted. I have connections. But you don't have a clean heart, Onyeka said. And you don't have peace. As the handcuffs clicked, Chief 𝐸𝐵 looked into Onyeka's eyes. He saw something there. Not fear. Not pride. Just truth. And it burned.
If you enjoyed the tale, if so, please like the video, share, comment, and don't forget to subscribe. Also turn on your notification to get more enchanted tales like this one. Goodbye.